Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Robert Tan. Here we uncover the stories and strategies of how money really moves. Today we talk about crypto adoption and fintech in the Philippines, how technology, trust, and innovation are shaping the future of digital finance. And joining us this afternoon is Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph, to discuss the Filipino market, stablecoins, regulation, and the next wave of fintech innovation. Good afternoon, Wei. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Robert.
Okay, let's start with this. Wei, the Philippines now ranks among the world's top 10 in crypto adoption. What makes Filipinos so uniquely open to digital assets compared to other markets?
Yeah, I think for us, we've always been a technology forward country. We're leading adopters in terms of all across different types of application, in terms of social media, in terms of streaming, in terms of just technology in general. And I think also given that our sort of native English capabilities, it actually opens us up to sort of this new technology on the fintech side as well.
Now, many early adopters joined crypto for speculation. Do you think the next wave of adoption will be driven by utility or still by profit chasing?
I think the next wave is actually going to be driven by what I call regulated financial services. For the Philippines, I think I forgot to mention one of the key reasons I think that we're ranking in the top tier on the adoption side is that we're actually one of the earlier countries to actually have crypto regulation. For Coins, we received our cryptocurrency exchange license from the BSP back in 2014, 2015. So we're actually one of the Coins is actually set up around the same time as Coinbase in the US. I think that has allowed people here in the Philippines to actually have safe security rails and safe platform to invest into Bitcoin. I think what's going on now, as you're seeing in the US, is that there's actually going to certain and then sustainable regulation being passed initially on the stablecoin side, but also currently on what's called the market infrastructure side with the Clarity Bill. I think the next wave of adoption is actually going to be driven by financial institutions coming into this industry.
Now, Coins.ph is both a licensed virtual asset service provider and electronic money issuer under the BSP. Now, how important is regulation in earning public trust and attracting mainstream users?
Yeah, I think the early stage of crypto has been what I call a bottoms-up movement in terms of people found Bitcoin through sort of their communities, whether it's online and offline. And I think that has driven sort of the rise of Bitcoin from almost 11 or 12 years now into sort of this $100,000 range. I think the next wave of growth for Bitcoin and I think the digital asset industry as a whole will be driven by regulation, and less so in terms of regulating the industry to sort of cap its growth, but I think actually providing proper guidance and then providing proper frameworks. I think for this industry to really reach out, I think to a much larger audience, and that larger audience, I think as we've seen, in the U.S. and I think also in terms of the service that we've provided here in the Philippines, will be actually other financial institutions, including banks, including payment service providers. For Coins ourselves, we have what I call an all-in-one app. You can use us to make payments through our sort of payment services. You can also use us to make investments into crypto. And I think that is this all-in-one service has sort of make us to stand out, I think, in the marketplace.
Do you see a lot of synergy between banks, financial institutions, and other online platforms in terms of creating an easier way to get into crypto?
Yeah, I think so. I keep on sort of harping to what's going on in the U.S. and what we hope to bring to here in the Philippines. I mean, if you look in the U.S. today, you can buy Bitcoin or Ethereum ETFs in your brokerage account. You can get Bitcoin-backed loans based on your holdings of Bitcoin. You can also get exposure into listed companies like MicroStrategy, which is what I call a levered play on Bitcoin. I think in the Philippines today, other than Coins.ph and a couple of other licensed VASP from the BSP, that's sort of the only way I think for whether you're an individual or whether you're financial institutions to get exposure into Bitcoin via pesos directly, unless you have sort of an offshore brokerage account in the U.S. I think we're quite early in this what I call the institutional adoption phase. What I hope to do is we want to enable other financial institutions here in the Philippines, as well as I think stock exchange here in the Philippines, the SEC exchange, to allow us to offer more crypto native products.
Now, Wei, there's a fine line between regulation and innovation. How do you push the envelope in fintech without crossing regulatory red lines?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we are regulated here in the Philippines by the BSP as well as the SEC and a few other regulators. And I think for us, it's important to offer our services under these regulatory regimes, especially given that we are custodian of user assets, we're custodian of financial assets. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I think if you are a custodian of financial assets, there is a certain level of regulation you have to sort of abide by, or whether here in the Philippines, whether in Hong Kong, Singapore, or for us in Thailand or Brazil, where we also operate. And I think this is important because innovation is going to continue. But money is one of those, and I think what's happening with crypto, especially, is that sort of internet is coming for money, right? I think if you look at sort of the history of the internet over the last 40 years now, it has come in and attacked every single industry, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's entertainment, whether it's transportation. And today, I think the internet has really made its inroad into money. Granted, sort of Bitcoin was the original invention in terms of peer, if you look at his white paper, sort of the peer-to-peer payment. But today, what you're seeing is that the regulated world has started to embrace digital assets and Bitcoin and crypto in general. I think for us, we've sort of provided our service under this regulatory regime here in the Philippines, and we've been able to stay ahead of the curve from an innovation perspective. And I think it is possible to sort of for innovation and regulation to coexist.
Now, Coins.ph lists the most tokens among all licensed exchanges in the country. Now, what's your internal filter of what makes a token worth listing in your ecosystem?
Yeah, I think when I became the CEO of Coins back in 2022, I think one of the goals for us is actually to bring high quality projects to our users here in the Philippines, and at the same time bring high quality projects from the Philippines to users all over the world, and to bring our services to users all over the world. And I think there's many filters that we look at. I think for us, it's more about looking at projects that have top tier VCs or top tier financial institutions backing it, or it has actually found product market fit with an existing user base. Or I think for us, a few years ago, if you remember when GameFi was super popular, we actually brought a lot of games that brought play to earn possibilities for users. And I think for us right now, last year we listed a token where we've brought what's called real world assets to users here in the Philippines, where they can actually have dash cams and then use that to earn to map the road and actually to earn tokens from doing sort of the work. So we brought that to some of the Grab drivers here in the Philippines. I think for us, it's more about bringing real utility, and then also bring earning opportunities. I think those are some of the things that we found to be most attractive to our users here.
A lot of innovations, but Wei, the SEC's upcoming CASP framework now aims to tighten crypto oversight. Now, do you see it as a step toward industry maturity or a possible bottleneck to growth?
I don't think it's going to be a bottleneck at all. I think the way we've been in communication with the SEC, we've been in communication with the BSP. We're actually looking for the two agencies to harmonize their regulatory framework. I think the BSP will continue to be the main regulator behind what's called a virtual asset service provider. And then for the SEC, I think they're actually opening up doors for new opportunities for us under their CASP, what's called a crypto asset, I think, service provider. And I think what's really unique about the SEC is that it is a securities regulator. So there's a lot of products that we've been wanting to bring to the Philippines For example, the BlackRock Biddle product, which is a 4 to 5% yield money market fund that has been tokenized. So you can actually bring a U.S. dollar denominated token yield product that is in a tokenized form that is issued by BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world. So I think we want to, and then this is a product that will give users or holders of that token, 4 to 5% yield on their nominal value, right? And I think that type of investment products is new and innovative, but it doesn't exist for our existing investors here in the Philippines. And I think by going under the CAS regime with the SEC, we can explore possibilities to bring, like, what I call world-class investable assets that exist in a tokenized form, I think, to our users. And I think that's going to be true not just for, tokens issued by BlackRock, but there's going to be tokens issued by, Fidelity, even sort of NASDAQ, that we've been sort of looking to bring to our users here as well.
Now, Wei, still a lot to discuss about innovations in crypto, how we can adopt a lot of the regulations that's still upcoming. But we'll take a short break, follow the money. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Follow the Money. Still with us is Wei Zhou, CEO of Coins.ph. Now, Wei, your PHPC stablecoin is pegged at 1-to-1 to the peso and just exited the BSP sandbox with flying colors. Now, what does this milestone mean for the remittance-heavy Filipino market?
Yeah, our goal for the PHPC is to actually bring it to overseas workers as well as the greater Filipino diaspora across the world. I think during the initial sandbox phase, we were able to get partners in Australia and also in the UAE to support the PHPC, so that the Filipino diaspora, whether you're working there or you have families there, can actually purchase PHPC in their home country, in Australia and the UAE, and then use that to send it to Coins.ph. And then that, the sending of that can be done 24/7. And then the fee of sending it is actually just pennies. So the cost, both in terms of cost and the speed, and is actually minimal, of basically approaching what I call T+0+0. So you can get your money both instantly, and then you don't have to pay that much fees, and it's available 24/7 on the blockchain. So I think for us, with coming out of the sandbox, my goal is actually to get the PHPC token listed in other markets, whether it's in Hong Kong or Singapore, and hopefully even in the United States, where there's a huge Filipino diaspora. I think if that happens, then anyone in the U.S. then can purchase PHPC, on Coinbase or Kraken or any of the U.S. exchanges. Once they have the PHPC, they can actually send that directly back into Coins.ph and then convert it back to pesos 1-to-1. And I think this is we're not here to replace any of the existing remittance players. We actually hope to a lot more of them, especially the institutions in the remittance space, will start to explore using PHPC as part of their existing rails to actually offer faster, cheaper services to a lot of their existing clients.
Now, when you mentioned that PHPC promises instant transfers and lower fees than banks or remittance centers, and you mentioned that you're not there to compete or replace, what kind of synergy are you seeing when this comes, when you execute this?
Yeah, so we've already are talking to a lot of partners now, both in the traditional remittance industry, as well as a lot of what I call crypto native remittance startups, in terms of adopting PHPC as part of their sort of financial rails on global payments. And I think this is really interesting because as the cost of sending money goes down, the volume will go up. So we actually anticipate that there's going to be new opportunities that's going to come up. For example, there's a lot of in addition, I think, to the existing sort of personal remittances, there's actually a lot of remote work opportunities that can open up for individuals that actually for workers that are based in the Philippines that can provide their services anywhere to anyone in the world. That once sort of payment goes down, then they can actually be much more competitive, or the cost of payment goes down, or the opportunity of payment goes up. Then their work opportunity can go up, especially I think in regions like North America and Europe. So for me, I think if you look at the existing remittance, a lot of them still rely on sort of U.S. dollar Swift banking rails, where it's still very costly and it ties up a lot of their working capital. I think if these existing traditional renting companies starting to use services that Coins has, we can really help them to unlock. When banks are closed, you can actually still make payments. When banks are closed, you can actually still remit money. So that way, a lot more of their working capital can get released into doing other productive things.
Now, as you expand to Australia, Brazil, and Mauritius, and with Europe next, what's your vision here, Wei, to make Coins a regional leader or a global Filipino fintech brand?
Yeah, I think I've said this from day one when I took over Coins, is I want to make Coins the first sort of Filipino brand that is going global. We were founded here in the Philippines in 2014, and we've been providing local payment and crypto and remittance services since then. We're actually the first player to use crypto as a source of remittance, or to facilitate remittance domestically here. And what we've seen is that there's almost, I would say, 10, 20 million Filipinos that live and work all over the world. I'm here in Singapore for the Singapore Fintech Festival. I was in Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Fintech Festival last week, and we spoke at the console there, where they have about almost 200 OFWs that participated to wanting to learn about how to use stablecoin for remittance, both personally and maybe even start up a business that way. I just think that crypto really opens up the financial access, and for us, it's really important then not just to stay at home, but to actually go overseas, to go where sort of where our users are, and to really help to I think initially to help and to enable a lot of these existing entrepreneurs and businesses to figure out how to build their businesses via stablecoins and via crypto. So I think that's one of the ideas behind it. I think the second idea behind it is that because of the service that we've been providing here in the Philippines under sort of a license regime, we're actually pioneers. I actually don't see. I actually only see one other company in Mexico that actually is doing what we're doing on sort of stablecoin, on payment, and on remittance. So for us, we actually think we can actually copy and paste or replicate our business model in other regions. And I think that those are sort of the two sort of rationales behind our global expansion. One is to expand our services to where our users are. I just think that, for example, just because you're an OFW working in UAE or in Saudi or in Hong Kong or Singapore, you should still be able to, have financial services or access to financial services for you and your family here back home in the Philippines. I think that's one rationale. The other rationale is that our business model is actually extremely innovative. And so I think we can actually bring that business model to other regions where there's a massive need, where there's a massive remittance use case.
Now, Wei, with this kind of business model, what kind of awareness campaign or marketing campaign do you have to increase more acceptance and adoption into this?
Yeah, I think it's many things we're doing. I think one, we are actually reaching out, I think, to the consoles and then working with different alliances where the OFWs are, to actually doing a lot of the financial literacy education. I think that's some of the grassroots stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, because for some it might become too technical, and how do you educate them more in a layman's matter in terms of the technology and innovation that you're providing?
Yeah, I think first of all, our app is super easy to use. And I think second of all, what we've seen is that there's actually a lot of bad actors out there. So I think for us, it's more about pointing them in the right direction. I think as soon as you go overseas, there are going to be different networks, different marketing schemes that's going to I wouldn't say want to trick, but there are malicious actors out there. So for us, it's more about, guiding them to the regulated platforms such that, that the services that they do get are under sort of, a regulation. I think that's where we're coming in. And for us, from a product perspective, I think it's really important then for us to build a really easy to use product and easy to understand product. And I think most people kind of understand, stable coins at this point, given that, like I think if you go to Hong Kong, stablecoin is sort of legal now. If you go to UAE, even if you get airports at Dubai, you see crypto ads. I just think it's sort of prevalent. It's just about guiding them sort of onto the right platform to use. I think that's sort of the bucket one. I think in terms of bucket two, general awareness, where we sort of have had attraction is we launched our services, I think, in Brazil and Australia earlier this year, and is actually having local teams to market our products to sort of the local audience. And I think for us, in addition to sort of having substantial operation and headquartered here in Manila, we also have local teams now in Brazil, in Australia, in Thailand, in Hong Kong, to sort of starting to market our products in those regions as well.
That's good to know. Now, when you do scale across markets with very different regulators, how do you stay compliant without losing speed or innovation?
Yeah, as I mentioned, sort of, staying on the right side of the law is sort of like the most important thing for us. And I think what we look to do is actually another sort of unique advantage that actually Philippines have and our business has is that if you look at a lot of the global financial institutions, whether it's JP Morgan, American Express, Deutsche Bank, they all have their back office here in the Philippines. And most of these back office are actually responsible for legal and compliance. So what we're building today is we're actually building a global compliance center within Coins. So one of the requirements of operating a licensed financial institution locally is that we will need to have sort of local licensed staff, senior leadership, but a lot of the operation we're actually centralized in here in the Philippines. So this is what I mean, that we actually believe it's possible to build a sort of homegrown global fintech here in the Philippines, because we already have the talent. It's just that nobody's really sort of taken that talent and then applying it, ourselves, rather than sort of like, working for an American financial institution. We're actually working for a homegrown financial institution, but the audience that we're serving is actually still global, right? So, and I think we actually have the talent base for it. So that, and most of the working language globally are actually, is in English anyways. And the other thing is we actually have our global customer service operation domiciled here as well. Because I think to be able to service different local audiences, you need basically, proper scalable compliance operation as well. Definitely. So I think for us, we actually see Philippines have the right talent base for it. It's just that nobody's really sort of guided some of these talent into a leadership position, rather than sort of like a like a junior position.
Now, where you've led global and local crypto companies through bull and bear cycles. Now, what's the one hard truth about leadership in this space that still surprises you today?
Yeah, I think what I want to teach a lot of people in this space is actually proper risk management. I've seen a lot of companies. It's really easy to grow. It's easy to grow really fast in this space, but once you get caught in sort of this, uber growth mentality, then it's like, then what sort of has hurt a lot of people along the way is actually risk management. I think this is an industry that is filled with opportunities, but sort of for us, it's really important then to sort of how to build a sustainable business out of this sort of fast growing industry. So I think for me, what I tell people both internally and the instrument for Coins is, having the proper risk management in place in terms of, making sure that you follow all the proper regulations when you operate.
Definitely. That's very important. Now, Wei, we have this part we call rapid fire questions. You just have to answer yes or no. No need to explain your answer. Let's start with this. Do you think Bitcoin will break its all-time high before 2026? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is AI a bigger disruption than blockchain?
Yes.
Will stablecoins become mainstream before CBDCs?
Yes.
Can the Philippines realistically become Asia's fintech hub, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
And would you invest in a Filipino Web3 startup today?
Yes, I would.
And finally, Wei, complete the sentence. Money is the root of all.
Happiness.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Wei. Thank you for your insights and sharing the learnings about crypto, the innovations, and it's great to know that one of the things that you focus on is really the regulation part, because we really need the kind of credibility, especially coming into the space of crypto. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And when it comes to innovation in fintech, challenges are inevitable, but they also present opportunities. As Albert Einstein once said, in the middle of difficulties lies opportunity. When innovation meets trust, it paves the way for a fintech ecosystem that's inclusive, resilient, and ready for the future. Coins.ph isn't just changing how Filipinos access crypto, it's transforming remittances, payments, and the way we think about digital finance. As the next wave of adoption unfolds, the true measure of success will be how technology turns opportunity into access and trust into financial empowerment. And before we go, it's 45 days till Christmas. And hopefully we'll all have a good time before that. And hopefully we all have a wonderful Christmas in 45 days. I'm Robert Tan. Stay curious, stay sharp, and always follow the money.